Hey guys, MetalJesus here. Now the Nintendo Switch is a relatively new console, yet can you believe there are already almost 100 games you can play on it? So today I'm going to show you the Switch games that I've been playing, and that includes both the physical retail releases as well as the eShop games. Let's take a look. Before we get into the physical retail releases, let's take a look at the eShop games I have. First up for my eShop games is a game I never thought I would see being remade, and that is Rogue Trooper Redux. I want to say Redux. I know that's not right. It's Redo. But here's a game that I covered previously on a PlayStation 2 Hidden Gems video, although now it's being remade and updated for the Switch, as you can see. In this game, you play as a genetically altered soldier that is bred to withstand fairly harsh conditions that would kill any normal soldier. Maybe that's why their skin is blue. I have no idea. I do know this is based on a fairly popular British comic called 2000 AD, which also used to feature Judge Dredd. One of the things that gives this game a bit of personality has to do with the soldiers that fight with you. Whenever they fall in battle, you pull out a knife and pull out their personality chip, and then you embed it into your gun, into your helmet, into your backpack, and then they help you and talk to you while you're in battle. It's pretty cool. This update has HD graphics. It also has remodeled polygons so the characters look a little bit better. Also improved lighting, and more importantly, it also has modern controls. So anybody used to playing games like, say, Uncharted, you're going to feel right at home here. The campaign's going to take you about 5 to 10 hours to complete through 13 large missions. It also has online co-op for 2 to 4 players, and there's really nothing quite like it in the eShop. So if this looks interesting to you, definitely check it out. Next up on my Switch is the Mummy Demastered. However, I know what you're thinking, but don't let a licensed game based on a fairly mediocre movie dissuade you. This is actually a really great game. The first thing that caught my eye is that WayForward made this. Now, you're not familiar with WayForward? Well, they made some truly excellent games like Shantae. They also made Mighty Switch Force, Contra 4, and also the new DuckTales Remastered. All really great games. Obviously, the 16-bit graphics look amazing, but the gameplay is really solid too. It reminds me of Super Metroid or Contra, which makes sense because, again, these guys made a Contra game. And like Super Metroid or Castlevania, these levels are non-linear, allowing you to explore as you want while upgrading your weapons and your skills to unlock new areas and take on new monsters. I just love finding games like this, where it's based on a movie that nobody cares about, nobody went and saw, but yet in the right hands with a great developer can just make an outstanding game. So, despite the name, definitely go check this out. Next up is Neon Chrome. Now, it calls itself a ruthless cyberpunk top-down shooter, and I would say that's pretty accurate. Basically, it's a twin-stick shooter with randomly generated levels that change every time you start the game. However, what makes this game fresh is that you unlock new abilities, enhancements, and weapons, which is nice because every time you die, you come back stronger, ready to see if you can make it just a little bit further. Another neat part of this game that I wasn't really expecting when I started playing it is that you can shoot through some walls. You can also make entire rooms explode, and later on you can take out entire floors. It definitely keeps you on your toes. In addition to a pretty tough single-player game, this also has local co-op with 2 to 4 players. So if you like twin-stick shooters with a little bit of RPG elements in there and a serious challenge, definitely check out Neon Chrome. I was a big fan of the first SteamWorld Dig game, but when I heard that the sequel was losing the randomly generated levels, going for more of a handcrafted experience, I knew that this would make the game even better. See, I don't mind a randomly generated game, especially when it's done really well, but in my opinion, there's nothing quite like having a level designer sculpt a game to perfection. That's what I really like about this. How would I describe this game? Well, basically think Super Metroid meets Dig Dug. Now, There is a story here, but honestly, I skip it every time because it just slows me down because I want to get digging. And yes, you do a lot of digging in this game. What makes this game so much fun, and why it reminds me so much of Dig Dug, is that you are creating your own path through the dirt to find those hidden objectives, but you have to do it before your light runs out. You also upgrade your tools along the way, which slowly changes the experience as previously blocked areas suddenly become open to you, and newer, tougher monsters also provide additional challenges. This is a well-made game with lots of hidden surprises to discover, as well as a unique art style and a nice polish. Alright, now it's time to blow some stuff up with Strikers 1945. This is an arcade shooter that has been ported to a bunch of systems like the PlayStation 1, the Saturn. I believe there was a compilation on the PlayStation 2. Now, if you played these type of games before, you're going to feel right at home here. You have some options here. You have 3 planes to choose from, and then you fight through 8 different stages. Now you have your normal attack, of course you have your bombs, but then you also have an extra formation attack with a support craft. But let me say, I just love games that have a vehicle that transforms into a mech. So cool. Another nice feature of this game is that it has many difficulty settings, so you can play this on basically stupid easy if you just want to learn the patterns, and then you can increase the difficulty as needed. I like taking a chance on some of these budget titles. This is a budget-friendly game here at only $3 called Night Terrors. This game feels like a mobile game. It's fairly simple. Actually, maybe it was a mobile game. I have no idea. But it starts simple and then it gets really tough. It's an endless runner that plays a bit like Flappy Bird or the classic arcade game Joust, where you need to avoid obstacles while attacking enemies that are coming at you. What I mean by that is that one button flaps your wings, so you need to do that a bunch of times to gain height, and then the other button is to attack. That's it. Those are the controls. However, if 3 enemies get by you, it is game over. I will say I really love the visual style here. It reminds me of those early 80s computers like, say, the ZX Spectrum. Now, this is not a game you're going to spend a ton of time with, but at $3, it's good for a quick play when you have just a few minutes. Next up is Ironcast, and I was very much looking forward to this game after watching some previews. Initially, this looks like a standard match 3 game, but let me assure you, it is much more than that. This game is incredibly deep as a tactical RPG. So as you can see here, there's a bit of a steampunk theme going on here. The game takes place in a fictional Victorian England where you command a mech, known as an Ironcast here, against the French who were invading. Each gem type represents a particular element needed to keep your Ironcast running in tip-top shape. For instance, you have coolant gems, gems that will repair your mech, give you more power, let you attack, but there's also special gems that will boost or allow you to do link combos. Each turn has you gathering these gems, fixing things on your mech, boosting your weapons and defenses, or even attacking specific hardpoints on your enemy. Oh yeah, and did I mention that there's permadeath? Yes! If you die in this game, it's back to the main menu to start all over again. This is definitely one of the best match 3 puzzle games I've ever played. Now, there is a lot to learn in this game, and at times it kind of reminds me of Puzzle Quest, another one of my favorites, but that's a good thing. There are a ton of great Neo Geo games in the eShop, and so I had to pick up a few of them. I'm just going to highlight one of them here, and that is a shooter called Alpha Mission 2. As you might expect, Alpha Mission 2 is an arcade shooter from SNK all the way back in 1991. This game is mostly known for having 11 different armored power-ups and the ability to switch them on the fly. Initially, when I launched this game, I had no idea what those letters meant, and that's kind of the downside for this game. It's not exactly beginner-friendly. After a while, you start to pick up on some things, like for instance, S means speed, also E for energy, but then later on it gets a little weird. So for instance, R means reverse, which means it's going to send you back a little bit in the level. Also, C means clear, and that will clear your current armor. Now, I'm aware this is not the most amazing shooter on the Switch, and honestly, if I had to recommend one, it probably would be Strikers 1945 over this one, but I think they're both unique and a lot of fun to play. Those are the eShop games I've been playing, but let's take a look at the physical releases too. I want to start off with The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth, and the reason for that is because surprisingly, it comes with some really cool extras packed in this small little case. The Switch case is not big enough to hold the stuff, but yet somehow they stuff it all in there. Usually it bulges, but this is a really cool physical release. They also did something similar for Cave Story Plus. Check this out. This little baggie here holds a keychain as well as a mini soundtrack and then a full color manual. Again, it fits in this case, but just barely. Of course, I had to get Super Mario Odyssey. Oh man, this game is not disappointing. It's amazing. Also, Splatoon 2, another game that has not disappointed, and I think it's even better than the Wii U version because there's so many people playing online. I have to admit that Disgaea 5 is a bit of an impulse buy. I bought it when I first got the Switch, and I need to give it some more time. I don't know what I'm doing in the game. Of course, every Switch owner should own Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It is the best Mario Kart game ever made. I love it. What to say about Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild other than, of course, it's amazing. It's a system seller. Everyone should own it. Lego City Undercover used to be a Wii U exclusive, but they brought it to the Switch, and it's fantastic. I finished this game, super fun. PuyoPuyo Tetris was another impulse buy. I would say I need to spend a bit more time with it. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's cool to have a puzzle game. Another game that got a physical release on the Switch is Tiny Barbarian DX. Pretty cool here, has a pouch with a keychain on the inside like so many others, as well as a full color manual, this one with a comic book on the inside telling you the story so far. That's a quick look at the Switch games that I've been playing, but I'd love to know what games do you recommend that I get, because as you know, there are tons of them and they're being released all the time. So please post a comment down below. Also, I'm really curious to know, do you play your Switch in the console mode connected to an HD television, or do you play it portably? Me personally, I actually like it on a big HD television with the Pro controller, but I've heard that most gamers prefer this to be portable. So love to know what you guys are doing with your Switch down in the comments below. All right, guys, as always, I want to thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing, and take care. I was recently at a gaming expo hanging out with a bunch of YouTubers in the hotel room, and it was so cool to have the Switch hooked up to the television in the hotel room and everyone just grabbing a controller, passing it around, and it was just so natural. I mean, there's not really many other consoles you can do that. Yes, you can haul in your PlayStation 4 or whatever, but you're just not going to do that. It's so much more convenient to have the Switch, and that was a real light bulb moment for me. It was very cool. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching.